All right, so welcome to this really short video of introduction of domain and range, okay? And we're only looking at domains for lines only. Okay, so we're not really dealing with any other shapes at this point in time. So when we talk about the domain of a graph, we're referring to the x values, how much of the x-axis is covered by a graph, okay? For range, these are going to be y values, and how much the graph covers the y-axis, okay? So visually, as we're looking at this, all right, we want to look at, first of all, my domain, and we're going to use this graph number 1 here. And remember that the arrows on either side here means that graph goes on and on for forever. So this graph is both going up and down as well as out for infinity. All right. So as we look at our x-axis, even all the way over here and even beyond that, we're going to have a graph. This graph might be way down here. Okay. As we go all the way to the right, even out here and beyond, this graph is going to go up and out for forever, and we're going to have a graph, okay? So in the case of lines with a positive slope, right, my domain will be negative infinity to infinity. There will not be a place on this graph where there isn't some sort of x value somewhere, even though it might be really large or really small. Right. If we go ahead and look at the range, now my range for my graph starts from the bottom to the top, whereas the domain goes left to right. All right. So remember, these graphs are also going down and up for forever. Okay, so no matter how small my y values are or how large my y values are, I'm going to have a graph covering it. This is also negative infinity to infinity. All right. If I go ahead and look at the second graph here with a negative slope, the same thing is going to occur. My domain, there is always going to be some sort of x value, so this goes to the left for forever and to the right for forever. So my domain will be negative infinity to infinity. Notice it looks like an ordered pair, but this is actually an interval. My range will also be the same as a positive slope. It will also be negative infinity to infinity. Okay? Are there differences in this? Like, are all lines going to be negative infinity to infinity? Anyone with a positive or negative slope. So let's look at our special slopes here. So here I have my y equals graph. Okay, this has a slope of 0. Can't write today. It has a slope of 0. Okay, it is a function. Okay, so I could apply the vertical line test. This would still pass. All right. It goes left and right for forever. So my domain in this case would still be negative infinity to infinity. All right. Now my range on this graph, okay, it's not going up or down. So let's say if this graph was y equals negative 2. That means my range is strictly going to be the point negative 2. It's not going off that. It's staying on negative 2 for forever. So this one doesn't have a range negative infinity to infinity. Because it's y values, it doesn't go up or down. And that's what we got to look at. For the last graph, this is my x equals graph. We'll say for sake x is equal to 3. So in this case, my domain, I'm not going left or right. So my domain here is going to be just my 3. However, my graph is going up and down for infinity, both directions. So my range in this case would be negative infinity to infinity. And again, as we go ahead and we talk about quadratics, the idea of domain and range, as well as being a function or not, is going to play a huge role. So this is kind of an introduction to the idea of domain and range, and I will see you in the next video.